Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tousi TV, your global news channel. We have some breaking news coming from British politics. Yes, the UK government is in a bit of a pickle as Keir Starmer, or as I call him, Keir Stalin, is facing a massive leadership crisis. This weekend, tonight as we speak, the cabinet and the political advisors and civil servants in both Downing Street, the cabinet office and the Home Office continue to have their meetings in regards to the migrant crisis in Britain. There is also a lot of talks from the Labour Party board and the National Executive, discussions about a potential leadership challenge and an alternative leader as we get closer to Christmas. We will discuss all this in this live show. Of course, we're going to get your reaction on this channel. As usual, will remain your go-to global news channel, interactive global news channel. All right, first things first, let's talk about what's been going on with the government. We're going to give you guys the latest update on the rebellion from the British population, the uprising, or as they call it, Raise the Colours operation, which is, of course, the people across the country are going around planting the flags of the country, the kingdom. It's now also reached Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. It's not just in England. First things first, the Home Office are now going to be seeking permission to intervene in the legal case when it comes to the migrant hotel closures. If it is granted, it will allow the government to appeal the High Court ruling, which was handed down last week, over the last few days. Essentially, what this refers to is Epping in Essex, the Bell Hotel, the footage that you're seeing. The local people, residents, protested so much that the local council and councillors decided to actually get together and take legal action against the government. The High Court ruled that, yes, the Bell Hotel has to be shut down for now, and the government has 2 weeks to remove the illegal migrants from that hotel and move them from the area, which sets a legal precedent, which means that we now have a huge number of local authorities and councils across the United Kingdom doing the exact same thing. The British government tried their best, the Home Office, to block it last minute. This was a few days ago. They failed. Now they're going to do an appeal. They're going to court now. And I'm not really sure how they can actually win this, but of course they can put pressure on the justice system, which obviously has been infiltrated by a bunch of liberal left-leaning judges over the last few years. Having said that, the number of small boat crossings with illegal migrants from France has actually gone up 38% over the last 12 months. And this was following the situation in Epping, Essex. A wave of protests, massive protests, more than before, is now expected to happen over the weekend, over the next couple of days, few days, outside every single migrant hotel across the country. And of course, the government, the Home Office, have now issued an extra warning to the local police forces, or as they call them, police service, up and down the country to ensure that there is a massive crackdown on this, because they know it's just bad optics. If every single area, local area, there's going to have protests outside hotels, more than before, more than what you've seen over the last few days and few weeks, then this is not going to end well for the Prime Minister. And even if at this point, even if you were to throw some people under the bus, including the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, and anybody else, it's too late. People are not really even angry at Yvette Cooper. They don't even care about Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary. They care about the Prime Minister. He is the main target. That's why the Labour Party board, the National Executive, are having meetings about the possible potential escalation with the leadership of Starmer, in case they have to be ready to replace him with, for example, Angela Rayner, who is the Deputy Prime Minister. Now, the Labour government have refused to rule out an emergency law change if they lose the appeal against the High Court. So this has now reached a whole new level of going against the will of the people and going against democracy. So what the government are now saying, Downing Street, is that they're going to go to court, they're going to try and do an appeal. If they win, then they win. If they don't win, they're not going to accept the result. If they don't win the appeal, they have the majority in the House of Commons, without an actual mandate at this point. They're going to do an emergency vote and an emergency bill in Parliament, which is, by the way, very, very interesting. The successive governments and Parliament in general in the UK, on so many important issues over the years, they always say, well, this problem will take time. There's a process. We have to go through debates and votes in parliaments. Sometimes bills and legislations will take months, sometimes years, to even pass. They always tell you that. When there's a problem, you go to politicians, they say, well, it's going to take time. But when they want to, they can do emergency votes. They did that in 2020 with the first lockdown, with the health mandates and everything that happened during COVID. They are doing it again. They are going to be changing the law without the consent of the British public in order to overturn the judgment coming from the courts in this country, which means the justice system, even if it does the right thing for once, they have no power because the government, the parliament, under the Labour Party, they can just go and change the law. And that means the courts and the judges will have to follow the new law. This is completely idiotic, and people are going to feel even more powerless and helpless because they say, well, clearly nothing works anymore. We have to wait until they give us some sort of general election at some point. Now, if they keep pushing, the only push that the people can do is to keep protesting and keep changing the opinion polls and the approval rating, and then the Labour Party will be forced to remove Starmer as leader. It's not up to the people. The people don't have the power. Parliament doesn't have the power because Labour has the majority in the House. The only people who can remove the Prime Minister right now are the Labour MPs. And if they fear that they're going to lose their seats and lose the next election, they're going to get rid of him. That's always been the case. We've seen it under the Tories and Labour previously. The situation, the escalation across the country continues. There's a lot of scandals that are happening when it comes to the migrant hotels that are being ignored by the mainstream media. Fortunately, with the rise of new media and independent reporters and citizen journalists, we are getting those stories. And of course, it's our job on Tousi TV to give a voice to those guys who are out there and finding these stories and these crises and scandals. Sydney Jones, for example, reported last night that during a flash demonstration, Sydney and her friends managed to capture footage of a security watching videos of beheadings. Now, this is in Norwich, by the way, at one of the centres, the migrant hotels. Let's quickly go and see what they found out, because they told the police. But essentially what you're having is, there's a bunch of people in the country who are so extremists that they are watching disgusting footage and they are planning disgusting things against the country.
Look, watching people, what are they watching? Getting people getting their heads cut off in this place,
on
right?
his private gallery as well.
In his private gallery, in his phone.
Yeah, big shout out to Sydney Jones and others for being there. It was reported that the security guard, this was at the Brook Hotel in Norwich, which is, again, has turned into a migrant hotel, housing for illegal migrants. He has now been arrested after being exposed by the locals after watching those beheading videos. This is a security guard supposed to be guarding the migrant hotel. Now, we've talked a lot about some of the illegal migrants who are going around committing crime, harassing the local women and girls, stealing, and Sydney and others also have more reports which we're going to get to in terms of all the other types of crimes. But security guards who are supposed to be protecting this is what they're doing. This is why action is needed on the ground when it comes to grassroots campaign, when it comes to citizen journalists, new media outlets. Let's go to the moment the security guard got arrested. It's insane. People are angry, rightly so. Police are trying to control the situation. This is what you have to deal with now. The biggest problem is that these type of scandals and, or as they call them, the isolated incidents when it comes to some illegal migrants from certain hotels going around committing crime, they're all isolated incidents. If you don't report on them, yes, they would be seen as isolated incidents. But if you actually put them all together, and we do it on this channel, and again, many other citizen journalists out there on the ground are reporting this, including Emma Dunwell, got Jack Hatfield, we've got obviously Sydney Jones, we've got many others, James Harvey, so many. Apologies if I forget some of the names, AY Audis, AJ Audis, and all the others. If it weren't for them, we would not be able with confidence to say right here, these are not isolated incidents. If you report on them together, the media, the rest of the media, you will see that there's a trend of behavior. There is an actual crisis, that you are denying the existence of it. They are gaslighting the British population and the global population at this point. Going back to Sydney, she also reported that she managed with her team to uncover evidence of stealing, illegal workers, violence, terrorist material. This was at one place, the Brook Hotel in Norwich, which obviously has been housing the illegal migrants for some time now. This is just one example, one place. It represents all the other areas that has the same problem. It represents a crisis that is being completely ignored by the establishment. When you look at this footage, again, this is Sydney's footage. When you see the local people slowly coming out, rising up, feeling confident, and these are not, as the establishment would call them, far-right football hooligan thugs or whatever. We now have families. These are the illegal workers, by the way, working with their food delivery companies, Uber Eats or Deliveroo. Women, children, all ages, both genders, different backgrounds. Everybody's getting together. The media and the government are finding it extremely difficult now to openly call everybody a far-right football hooligan. They can see the footage. They are trying their best not to show you. They are trying their best to use the Online Safety Act, which is the new legislation, it's not that new anymore, legislation in the UK to fight against free speech. Over the last few weeks, the Online Safety Act has given extra powers to Ofcom, which is a media regulator that is now censoring footage, these sort of videos, in the UK. Now, if you're in France, if you're in Italy, you can watch it. But if you're in the UK, you can't unless you have VPN. They don't want you to see it. They don't want you to know about these stories. They don't want you to know about the fact that the people who are now out there protesting and campaigning against this on the ground in local areas are people, as I said, from a range of different backgrounds and different ages, different classes, but all have one thing in common: British values, the culture of the kingdom. Now, the Raise the Colours campaign or operation, which is now obviously spreading around the country, it's about obviously raising the flags of the kingdom, St. George's flags, the Union flags and all the others, has now reached Wales, Northern Ireland and also Scotland. There's a video that we have received from Scotland, for example. There are a number of videos that you'll be able to see on social media. Let's go to Scotland. Everywhere. Well done. Well done. Also, the interesting thing about what's going on in Scotland and also in Wales specifically is that British patriots and unionists are now embracing the flags of Scotland and Wales, and essentially taking it back away from the Scotnats, the Scottish nationalists, because this is in solidarity with people in England, and that is the key point. Because in England, people are flying the St. George's flags as well as obviously the Union flag. In Scotland, for a long time, because of the Scottish National Party, the SNP, and basically the Republicans, they took the Scottish flag, and the Unionists only, for obvious reasons, were using the Union flag as the flag of the UK, saying we are loyalists. But that's still the case. But when it comes to this, both the Union flag and the Scottish flag, they're all out, just like the English flag and the Union flag. So things are changing. Same thing is happening in Wales as well. The campaign is escalating. There's another scandal that hasn't been reported again by the mainstream, and we have to do it. Again, big shout out to those who are doing a great job online, independent reporters and smaller channels and all the others as well. Reported by Basil the Great on X, there has been unfortunately, a great incident, massive, in York last night. An Islamic gang viciously attacked local people because they were raising the flags, the English flag and the Union flag. There was a massive escalation. The police had to get into the area to intervene, and all because you can see in this photo, by the way, the Union flag on the right hand side next to the police van, because some people didn't like it, that local people are raising the flag of their own country. Allegedly, a so-called Amazon delivery driver, Islamic migrant, that's what they're doing, got into an altercation or a fight with a local young boy about the Union flag being raised at his house, outside his house. The boy's dad came out and told the delivery driver to go away, and then the delivery driver left, came back with a bunch of his friends and the Islamic gangs. And obviously, as Basil the Great described it, all hell broke loose. Let's go and see what happened.
It wasn't him, it wasn't nothing to do with him. That wasn't nothing to do with him.
Have you seen my fucking phone in my hand?
That was not even him, the lads just ran off down the street.
No, they're all mashing now. Look, what's it got?
Look at them all fucking off now.
No, that's fine, yeah. Is it?
No, it's not fucking bad.
I'm here to know what happened.
Do you want to go inside?
No, right, I'll tell you what happened. I was putting flags up in the fucking...
Someone needs to sort out their phone. They keep getting phone calls. Put it on silent. Anyway, there's also CCTV footage from the incident. But I think it's a camera from someone's house, I believe. Let's just go and watch this. The camera.
I told my husband to fucking leave.
This is yesterday, 21st of August. Of course, the moment the police arrived. Someone in the live chat, Janette, is apparently she can tell the future. She predicted the future, right? She says, breaking news, I heard it 2 nights ago. For the record, this confirmation from the government going to court happened 3 hours ago. And then, of course, it broke afterwards. by the government release. This has not been happening for 2 days. This has been going on for the past 2-3 hours. I believe Jeanette is a little bit confused with the initial story, which was the High Court ruled against the Bell Hotel in Essex. That is not that story. This is the appeal from the government, which they've been working on for the past 2-3 days, and they've finally got the confirmation that they're going to be appealing, or getting permission to appeal, which has only been, they only did that over the last 3 hours, and it's now been confirmed. It has now been released. Anyway, there is no more reactions to this. We have a comment saying, thank you for your super chats. That vile Keir Starmer and his party need to be done for treason and act against the British public. My opinion. Yeah, of course, you might get a knock on your door from the British police for saying that. This is the new kingdom in 2025. You can't say what you believe as an opinion either. Good luck to the government. They will lose yet again. That old witch Cooper should be in jail with the rest of them. But as I said, the problem here for the British public is that this is not a fair fight. The government are expecting to lose this court case, the appeal. And as I explained, they have already told us, Downing Street, that the plan is if they lose or when they lose, they could still win the appeal. They are going to do an emergency law change because they have a majority in the House of Commons. That's the plan. You can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about it because technically speaking, constitutionally, they have a majority in the House of Commons. They can do whatever they want. They can change the law, and they basically, the judges and the courts will be powerless at that point. And they say, well, we have to now make our judgments based on the new legislations. If you make something, if you rule over something, and if you override it, then the courts will have to operate based on the new precedent that's now been set by Parliament. This is the problem with the lack of level playing field with this fight against the government. Kevin says, boycott Amazon if that driver is not fired immediately. The problem, by the way, in the UK with the delivery jobs is that it's actually affecting a number of companies. By the way, it's the fault of the companies for not being able to supervise. These companies have become so big, massive corporations. So that includes obviously Amazon, that includes Deliveroo, that includes Uber Eats. Of course, Deliveroo and Uber Eats are food delivery apps. And what the illegal migrants do, because obviously they all have their own relatives and friends and gangs and everybody else that they know, once they get into the country from France, all they have to do is to go to someone they know who has now been approved as an asylum seeker. So they have the paperwork, they are now legally allowed to work. They get that person to sign up, register their names as an Uber Eats driver, delivery driver, but they themselves will start delivering. Just Eat has been affected as well, a number of other companies. Keir Starmer's cabinet promised us weeks ago, over a month ago, that there is now a new crackdown on this. And the first day and the second day, we actually saw some evidence. Somehow, coincidentally, the media, the mainstream media, were there on the streets as the police were stopping the delivery drivers, checking their identification, checking their paperwork. Somehow that story just went away. Only the first couple of days, we had the crackdown. A number of people may have been arrested. Some people maybe basically were banned from using the app, right? Fair enough, cool. Well done. And coincidentally, the media were there, Sky News and BBC and all of them, to support the government, saying, look, we are filming, coincidentally, spontaneously, the police doing a crackdown. But that's gone. There's no update on that. Nobody has seen anything on the streets over the last few days, few weeks, about the so-called crackdown. And those who are using these apps for deliveries, they continue to say, you can see online comments on social media every single day, that they are still seeing, because by the way, people can tell. If you order something For example, or even like Uber drivers, the taxi app. You see a face of the person who's registered, but then the person who turns up is a completely different person. Or on Deliveroo, the name would say, I don't know. Actually, surprisingly, a lot of the names that have been registered are women. Primarily also a lot of Islamic women, so it's Arabic names. For example, the name would say Apsana. Apsana will be delivering your food, and then Muhammad turns up. So people can tell. You can tell if you are using these apps. You can tell. That's why there's a massive campaign on social media saying don't use these apps, not until this problem has been solved, because you're encouraging bad behavior. You're condoning this. The more you do it, the more these guys are going to be using these apps, their delivery services. If you boycott them until these companies take control of it, and the so-called police and the British government who promised us they're going to do a crackdown, then fine. If they fix it, if they find a new way to monitor this, cool, then you can use it again. But you can't use it now, because it's not just about condoning bad behavior. It's not really just about the fact that you are allowing the illegal migrants to work using someone else's name. It's also about your safety. You are bringing people to your door and you're opening the door to your home. It's not safe. You don't know who these people are. You can never prove who these people are, because if one of them decides to do something crazy, then they can still come in, take whatever they want, and they can go, and you can't even prove who that person was. They'll just disappear into the system again. Unless you happen to have security cameras in your house. Even that's going to be difficult to still find out who they are anyway, even if you can see their faces. Angus says that those delivery guys spit in your food. This is the other thing, by the way, that's started, especially over the last few months. A lot of the restaurants and takeaway places, especially in London, they have learned about this, and what they end up doing is, some places, actually I think most places now, if you get a delivery, what they end up doing is they basically wrap your food properly, which, by the way, that means it's going to take you 5 minutes to unwrap it if you want to eat. But they do it in a specific way. They use their own stickers to basically wrap around it to make sure that no one could get into your food before it arrives. The fact that has to be done, because in case someone goes into your food, that it's just absolutely insane. The lack of trust, basically. Anyway, should we get some quick reaction from the members of their channel? If you want to become a member of Tousi TV to get access to our news posts and documentaries and our podcasts and everything else, then go on Tousi.tv. The link is also on the screen down here. Tousi.tv and become a member. Will says, Maya, you keep promising us Starmer's demise, but the slippery little bugger is still with us. Problem is, Will, I'm not in charge of the revolution. I'm just here to report what is about to happen or what could happen. If it doesn't happen, it's not my fault. So this is the responsibility of the Labour Party and the Labour MPs. So they are the only ones with power right now. You don't have any power. Opposition parties don't have any power because they don't have a majority in the Commons. But based on the meetings at the Labour Party board and the National Executive, there are discussions about the possibility of the alternative options, which includes Angela Rayner and Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary. But he hasn't said he's going to resign now. So we have to wait for the inevitable fall. And the only thing I can guarantee you, that's the one thing I can guarantee and promise you, Keir Starmer will not have a happy ending on any level. Not just when it comes to his friendship with Emmanuel Macron, but also politically speaking. Anyway, Neil says, allegedly, Neil says, I don't want Starmer replaced with another Labour politician. I want the entire party to be voted out of office. General election now. That's going to happen too. Regardless of the people in the country who are freaking out about the vote being split on the right, don't worry about any of that, because there will be a hung parliament at this point. And unless there's a reform majority, which will be a whole different problem, because obviously we don't know who the new ministers are going to be. They're all going to be new young MPs out of nowhere. The new intake are going to become government ministers. The most likely scenario is that the one thing we know is that Starmer will not be able to get a majority. So that's gone. There's no way Labour could form a majority. They are done. It's about home parliament. It's about focusing on that. Unless you get your Reform UK majority, fine. You'll be happy with that, some of you. But you will get a home parliament, which is fine. It's going to be absolutely fine. Because it's about what comes next. What else do we have? I worry that the government will win their appeal. What happens then? What you should worry about is also if they lose. Because as I said before, whether they win or lose, they are still going to win. Because they're going to change the law. Yeah. We have someone who's not happy. Actually, wait, this is but a slow fuse. It will be like the, what? Something when it really kicks off. Someone is having a bit of a meltdown in the live chat. Let's see what's going on here. Anonymous account, obviously. Give this fraud your money. They are going to shut down his channel. He's getting death threats. He's a fraud. Okay. So, okay, let's play with this. It's going to be fun. We don't take money from people. We don't do fundraising. And I've never asked for donations or anything like that. We don't believe in that. There's been a number of times when we were in trouble, and I still refuse. Even the people said, Maya, do a fundraiser or whatever. We refuse to do that. Tousi TV is a business. We have a company. We have a team. And we don't really ask for handouts. I'm a capitalist. I don't believe in that nonsense. Although I fully understand some people would need it. There's a lot of new media, independent, smaller channels who get into trouble, who need help. And it's absolutely fine for them to do fundraising. And there are a lot of people who show support. Brilliant. Well done. We don't need that because we have a business, of course, here. And we provide a service. And people are willing to obviously watch this. Well, they can watch this for free. It's YouTube anyway. And if they want to get more out of the channel, then of course they can get the Tousi TV app, which again, our team have worked really hard and spent a lot of money to make that. And yeah, you can choose, because it's free society, free market. You can choose to get access to the platform to obviously get the documentaries and the podcasts and everything else. But yeah, we don't ask for money. And the reference to they're going to shut down his channel, this is the funny bit. I mentioned the threat about Ofcom and the Online Safety Act months ago, actually to be fair, 2 years ago when it was coming. But months ago, when I was told that they are going to give Ofcom extra powers to monitor new media channels. I talked about it. They said they're going to come for all our channels, including Tousi TV. Some of these idiots laughed. Ha, 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 what is it talking about? Now, there were some other YouTube channels who also basically said, what is Maya Tousi talking about? Now, the same people are now making videos. They did like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when the Ofcom got extra powers. They're like, panic, we're all gonna die. Ofcom now has new powers. And I'm like, I said that months ago. You guys made fun of it. You didn't take it seriously. Now you're all saying the same thing. And of course, we've seen the censorship. It's actually affected this channel and many other channels as well. If you're watching from the UK, some of the censorship affects you. Obviously, if you're watching from abroad, it's fine. So that's happening. And of course, the death threats, that I'm just used to the death threats. You know, that doesn't really bother me. Anyway, so that crazy person, don't be like him. Then, you know, try to be a better person. Try to not live in your mom's basement and watch Pornhub too much. That's a bad idea. Or watch Bonnie Blue's interviews on channels. Stu says, fraud, you're not Jamaican? I'm a Nigerian prince. How dare you? Now give me your money. Larry says, Mossad sponsor Maya anyway. He's all right, exactly. Mossad have been absolutely terrible with the payroll because I still haven't received my check. Come on, Mossad. Still waiting. We had to go all the way to Israel to make a documentary. They didn't pay for anything. How rude, how stingy. Oh, funny. All right, so Suzanne says, I hope the courts stand firm. As I said, the problem is, even if the courts win against the government, well, the rule against the government, they can change the law. And they are considering changing the law, which means the government will still win. PC says, I have VPN. Good, PC is right. It's kind of interesting because we used to, before we developed our Tousi TV Plus platform, the Tousi.tv website and the Tousi TV app, download it from your app stores, There was a period, this is a few years ago, and like many other channels on YouTube or Rumble or whatever, we did a couple of sponsorships. And I was like, I didn't want to, it wasn't really my thing, but we had to do it because I think everybody was doing it. And we were thinking, well, this is the only backup plan to get some sort of revenue in case, for example, you get demonetized on YouTube or whatever happens. And then we created a whole new mindset on Tousi TV. I didn't like to do the sponsorships. There was we had like 2 or 3 sponsors, like a couple of videos we did. One of them was actually a VPN. The reason I mentioned this is because the PC mentioned I have VPN. One of them was it? I think it was Atlas VPN, whatever it was. And there are still a lot of channels that do sponsorships. To be fair, with all the respect, it's more of an American thing. Nothing wrong with it, by the way. But I realize it's best not to do that. It's best to do things differently. The whole point of me having this channel and with the team, a new media global news channel, interactive news channel, which you don't get, actual news, not political commentary or podcasts or whatever other people do, was because I wanted to be different to the mainstream news, CNN, CBC, BBC, and all the others. And then I thought, well, with the team, I was like, well, let's also be different to the other new media channels. I don't blame them, just like how I said I don't blame other people for doing fundraising, and nothing wrong with that. It's just not in my nature to do handouts. Also, it's not really a problem if the other channels are doing sponsorship, although I find it annoying. I always skip that few minutes when they do the sponsorship shout-outs. So I said, I'm not going to do that. The best thing we can do, create our own product, because if we are going to promote something, we're going to promote what we are doing, which is relevant to what we're doing. And that way, it makes sense. You're not doing a shout-out for someone else's business. And also is relevant to what's actually happening. And if people want to get something out of it, then they can do it. Which, by the way, we are going to come up with crazier things in terms of products and services in the future. We're not going to make it commercialized, but it will be relevant. Anything that we do when it comes to the app, when it comes to the platform, is all relevant. But that's why I don't do sponsorship shout-outs. It's just a little bit... It's a distraction. Imagine you're talking about something serious, like there's a mass shooting in LA, and you're like, oh, by the way, let's talk about your mattress. Why? Why are you talking about mattresses in the middle of all this? Anyway, got Mick saying, ignore the haters, have a bacon butty on me. Oh, yes, I would like a nice bacon, crispy bacon. The only way I can have my bacon is crispy, streaky bacon. Tousi has been trying to give folks a warning for 5 years. He could have stayed silent. Well, doesn't matter. You still have to follow. Rand says, I have followed you since your creation. Oh, since I was born. That's nice. It seems like many years ago. Yeah, 37. I know what you mean. Channel creation. But can't afford to join. I would always wish you the best. Absolutely, you don't have to. There's no need. If you don't afford it, if you can't afford it, that's why we still have this. Tousi TV itself is always free, right here on YouTube. That's your main platform for your breaking news. Tousi TV Plus is the independent platform if you want to. No one's forcing you to join, of course, if you can't afford. If you can, you should, because you're missing out of all the brilliant content that our team are making. Go on Tousi.tv, you get 1 month free if you join as an annual subscriber, and get the Tousi TV app, the home of geopolitical news, for free from your app stores. See, I had to. They made me do a shout out. I was trying my best not to do a shout out. Now I did a shout out. I don't even like to do the shout out, even when it comes to my own platform, which I'm very proud of. The app is beautiful. Took a long time. The app took as long as the Brexit negotiations took, which took years. Something, I don't know what that is. Sometimes I'll pay £19.99 to avoid adverts for the whole family. Oh, that's the YouTube premium thing. Yeah. If I see adverts in the video, I fast forward. Yes, it's irritating, and I'm glad that Tousi TV has not done that in the 2 years I watched the channel. Yes, and also, but the other thing I would say is Tousi TV Plus, I know I'm doing a shout out again, is ad-free. So we kept ad-free and sponsor-free. Because again, there are other independent platforms. Again, this is not really to slag them off or anything like that, because actually we are getting inspirations from the successes, trying to do the good things they do and try not to do the bad things. So Daily Wire Plus, brilliant, good platform. They've done some great things. As a company, it's a little bit too centralized, but we were learning what to do and what not to do. It's their model. I get it. I just don't want to do that, which is even if you pay Daily Wire Plus, the membership, which is more expensive than Tousi TV Plus, which, by the way, makes sense because they have a bigger team. The level of high-quality movies they're making, brilliant. We can't do that yet, but we are doing high-quality documentaries. But you still see sponsorships and adverts. So that's one thing. Our platform is fully ad-free on Tousi TV Plus. Gareth says, call me crazy. Crazy. But something tells me I don't want to move back to the UK anytime soon or ever. Well, we've had a lot of job creators, entrepreneurs, leaving Britain. And these are British people, proper British people, natives, who are leaving. The majority are going to the United States. Some of them, for some reason, are going to Dubai. I get it, the whole tax-free thing, but Dubai is boring. There are a number of other places they are going to. Basically, a lot of the job creators are leaving, which is obviously sad, but makes sense. If you want to keep your family safe, if you want to have better opportunities, this is not a safe place, financially, societally, on any level, until it gets sorted. Anyway, thank you so much. Actually, one tiny thing I was going to say, the success of new media. A big shout out to Mark Goldbridge. Some of you probably don't know who he is. Mark Goldbridge, who's behind the United Stand YouTube channel, which is a Manchester United channel. He basically does, in his team, watch-along videos, live streams. Basically does what we do, but this is political. That's more about sports and football. He has now signed a new contract with Bundesliga, the German league. And as of tonight, 2 minutes from now, 7 p.m. UK time, he's going to go live. He's going to be the first streamer, YouTuber, to do a live coverage of a national league a football game as a new media channel. This is the biggest win for new media against the mainstream media in a very long time. They are losing the battle, even when it comes to sports, even when it comes to football. Because Bundesliga, the German league, have been struggling to promote their own league. Because, you know, we have Premier League. Everyone cares about Premier League in England, right? For those who care about football. And they thought, what do we do? You know, focusing on their main TV channels like Sky News or ESPN, no one cares. Let's go to the new media content creators like Mark Goldbridge, who now in about 1 minute is now going to go live on his channel, that is football, to do the first new media live coverage of a football match. Something that we are doing on this channel when it comes to geopolitical news, live breaking news, interactive with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.